to Kentucky Sports Radio, here live at the KS Bar and Grill on Wings Day. Got some folks here eating lunch. Got a couple guests here with us, Landon Young and Drake Jackson. First of all, Ryan, they brought us, the Old Kentucky Chocolates people brought us the chocolate-covered cashews for Chocolate-Covered Cashew Day.
You know, I love Landon and I love Drake, but I may be more excited about the chocolate-covered cashews that they brought in.
Yeah, sorry, Shannon. This is another day you should be with us because they brought 4 bags. You and Drew aren't here, so Landon and Drake took your bags. I'm sorry.
That'll be okay. I'll get it next time.
All right, so that's – and the other thing is it is Kindergarten Teacher Day. So before we get started, Drake, Jackson, Landon Young, who was your kindergarten teacher?
I can't remember.
You can't remember.
I went to Providence Montessori School.
Okay, but they don't have people with names?
Sister Cletus was her name, if I remember correctly, but she's passed, and God, that's so long
still a
ago.
Shout out to Sister Cletus. Was she a good kindergarten teacher?
She was great. It was a great school. I loved it. I went back not too long ago to see it. Everything seems so much smaller.
Yes, well, you're bigger. Yeah. Landon, what about you? Who was your kindergarten teacher?
I believe her name was Miss Crystal. You know, like I said, the older I get, the more I forget. But
where'd you go to elementary school?
Picadome. I was right up the road here. So,
Picadome.
yeah.
Did they play golf on the side of there at Picadome? They need to work on that course. Exactly. It's falling a little bit in disrepair. All right, so Drake Jackson, Landon Young, 2 guys, first of all, who Kentuckians, Central Kentuckians who decided to play here, had 4 great years. You were showing me off your bowl ring. First of all, I want to say I really enjoyed watching you guys for years. We interviewed you when you were in high school. How great of an experience was it for you when you decided to come to Kentucky? Is the 4 years you had, did it meet your expectations?
It met our expectations so well that I've got friends at other schools around the conference, other conferences, just all around college football. They saw how great our career was with how the fans interacted with us, with the attention the media gave the offensive line, and the success that we had over the last 5 years. They saw how great our experience was. I don't regret the decision. Landon and I know he'll say the same thing. We chose to play at Kentucky over these other schools, and not for a second I take it for granted at all.
Yeah, exactly. So, like you said, it met our expectations and blew them out of the water. You know, and it comes to every facet of not just our friends, other teams, but even into the next level, other coaches, NFL scouts, stuff like that are talking to us being like, man, y'all did something special at Kentucky. Like, that team is really something now, and it's on a good path. Like, we're leaving stuff behind that those guys are going to continue to be able to take steps up on. So, you know, I don't regret a minute of my decision. You know, we could have gone to a lot of different schools, but I'm glad staying here and being part of the BBN is the best decision I've made in my life so far, besides marrying my wife.
Yeah, I was about to say you very
good save.
Put that in there.
Good save.
There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about with you, but I feel like it would be remiss if we didn't talk for a second about Coach Schlarman.
Of course.
And your time with him. I mean, obviously, well, you guys were as close to him as anybody. There's no reason for me to describe it. Tell me what he meant to your life and what it was like playing for him, and then what it was like when he passed.
I think we both came to Kentucky because of him. There was a lot of other reasons, but I think reason number one was because of Coach Schlarman. I remember meeting him when the staff got hired. I was a freshman in high school, and he was the same person in 2013 as he was up until the day he died. Just always high energy, high enthusiasm, smart, great with people, and an incredible football coach. But I don't think we really see him as a football coach, especially the last couple years. He was a mentor. He was a second father figure for us, and he was a friend. He was somebody that we would joke around with. We'd be on his head. He'd be on ours. We'd be making fun of each other. It was just always fun seeing him in the building. We'd go up before practice. We'd get there 30 minutes early before meetings just to go hang out with Schlarman in his office. So, wonderful family, and he taught us a lot. This is such an important stage. If you're 18 when you get to college,
yes,
23 when you leave. It's such an important time. College football coaches are there to develop you as people, and he was the best person in the industry doing that.
Landon, what was it like watching him get sick, watching him pass away? I mean, I can't imagine for you guys what that had to feel like and to be a part of.
It was definitely like a bit traumatic, you know, watching it, but at the same time, like, he relied on us just as much as we relied on him. You know, the whole 2 years he was battling that cancer, of course, I remember when he first came in and said, hey, guys, Like, this is it. He was very frank with us. He came up. He said, we took some scans. They found some stuff. We're going to fight it. We're going to fight it. I'm going to get through this. And so, of course, at first we don't get the true grasp of really what all that entailed. And then slowly as that year went by, you start to see little changes. And then the second year comes by, and that's when it really hits. That's when you start seeing the weight loss. That's when you start seeing him, having to fight through some stuff, some pain and all this stuff, starting to lose his hair. And so going into the second year, that's when it really was like, oh, crap, this stuff's really starting to get bad. He was going from one drug to another, trying to try everything he could to get better. But at the end especially, it was really hard because it was somebody that wanted to give everything he could to you, but couldn't give everything that he used to be able to give.
Yeah.
And
but I think that his best medicine was being a football coach.
Exactly.
I've heard other people say that. I want to talk about moments of your career, but tell me about that moment where he was in the locker room and you all won at Tennessee.
Yeah, so he got the game ball, and it's not common to see the entire team love one coach because you don't interact with every coach. I don't interact with the defensive coaches very much. I just don't. But the entire team respected Schlarman. They respected what he did with us as a position group. And so anytime he talked, people listened, no matter who it was. Mm-hmm. That's how influential he was. That's how much everybody paid attention to it, because when he talked, people listened, and they felt what he said. Because what he said wasn't just hoopla, cliche. He lived what he spoke. And that's, I think those 2 years he battled cancer, he influenced more people than the first 43 years of his life, because for those years he preached being a man, doing the right thing, doing it for the guys around you, doing it for the team, and then he lived it out those last 2 years.
Yep.
Well, obviously a huge impact on you guys and everyone, and I know our prayers are still with his family, and I know you guys have kept in contact with them as well. I want to talk about some amazing positive moments. I'm going to give you each a moment I remember during your career, and you tell me what it was like. What was it like winning down in Gainesville?
Winning down in Gainesville? So actually, Gainesville, I wasn't there because I was hurt.
Okay.
So.
Well, then how about I ask you? My fault.
So we lost in 2017, if you remember. There
was painful, yes.
A late penalty, disputable, whatever. But
I don't think it was a penalty.
Still hurts him.
Yes.
Landon might disagree. I didn't play that game, so I'm happy we didn't win because I wanted to be.
You wanted to be there for it.
I wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I've watched that game so many times, you can see we dominated that game up front.
Yeah.
Offense and defense. We brought it to them. I watched that game just for fun because the first play of the game, we're driving guys off the line of scrimmage, putting them in the dirt. I think we had like 4 or 5 pancakes on the first play of that game. We set the tone. We did it for Coach Schlarman. We had such an outstanding team, so well coached, disciplined. It really was such outstanding game. Wonderful environment. I still remember every detail about that game.
I remember watching it, and, I was excited. Of course, I had my knee in a brace, and I was sitting on the couch with the game ready on it. But, I was sitting there yelling, screaming, crying at the end of the game, just like, we broke the streak.
Yeah.
That's something that you hear about ever since we were knee-high to a goat walking around Lexington here. And so being able to see that and see my guys succeed, that was just an awesome moment. And seeing Coach Schlarman get that game ball, seeing the pictures, the videos on Snapchat of everybody.
That had to be crazy, though, because you're not there and you're still having to. What's the best win during your time?
Go ahead.
For me, I would say my senior year here into the Vanderbilt game, right after we lost Coach Schlarman. And for me, I was able to wear his number.
Yeah.
We were able to have the sort of contribution to him at the beginning of the game where we left the open man on the field. They declined the penalty. That was awesome. But just being able to win that game, I was able to get player of the week that week and just sort of do everything for him. I didn't want any of the recognition. I wanted it for Coach Schlarman because of the impact that he had on my life and everybody on that team. So being able to just play that game and do it in his honor and have everybody else rally behind you and do the same, that was the biggest win for me.
Yeah, the best win is Florida in 18, but I think we really dominated Tennessee this past year.
Yes, they did.
Oh, yeah.
For somebody who grew up on the border, that was my favorite of your wins. But go ahead.
And the Tennessee win in 17, too, when Steve dove into the end zone.
That was great.
He was injured. Outstanding moment. And then really, people forget, we dominated Mississippi State in 2018 also.
Yeah.
Benny ran for 4 touchdowns. We beat him 28-7. Josh had 4 sacks.
And that was a big game because by winning that, you set up that Georgia game the next week, which obviously was for the East.
Yeah, we started that season 5-0, lost to A&M in overtime. We were this close to being 6-0 heading into a bye, and that was such a good win. The way we beat a good Mississippi State team.
The bowl experiences, obviously, you got the win this year against NC State, but. And that was fun, but I actually think the two before, the Citrus Bowl, because it was a big bowl, and then the excitement of the game down at the Belt Bowl, what were those experiences like?
Those were really fun, and like you said, it was a little different this year because we didn't get to do everything because of the COVID protocol that we were under. But the last 2 years where we got to really spend that whole week with our team, get close, go and do stuff, we were able to go ride in NASCAR around at the Belt Bowl and down to Charlotte. And just being able to experience those things with your guys are things that you're never going to forget. Of course, you're never going to forget the game. We got the ring to show it. We got the experiences with it. But all the time surrounding it was something that made that week special, made that game special.
You know, I think about the Citrus Bowl, and one of the things I always think about is that Josh Allen played in it, right? There's a top 5 pick playing. Guys just don't do that as much anymore. He did it, and there is a culture around this team, and it's not just the culture of playing in bowls. That's nice. Sometimes guys don't play in bowls. I don't begrudge them if they do that. But there is a culture that has developed, in my opinion, around this program that is really special. Do you agree with that? And how did that happen?
We've played in 5 bowl games. We've had, I think, 1 person opt out of a bowl game in 5 years. Mm-hmm. It's just we all committed to take this team, to take this program to the next level. That's what we committed to, and that job wasn't finished until the season's over. So we're all here to play in the bowl game to get as many wins as possible to catapult this program even further.
Mm-hmm. Now, you guys got, the draft's coming up, and now, we're going to have. Jamin's probably going to go in the first round. Kelvin maybe in the second round. There's a bunch of you guys that will potentially go later in the draft. But when you decided to come here, Landon, that wasn't necessarily the case. It wasn't the case that there were Josh Allen top 5 pick, Benny Snell, Lynn Bowden. That didn't happen. But you, I think, believed it would. How gratifying is it to see it actually take place?
Oh, it's really nice. And like I said, we can't take all the credit for helping this program. We had the classes before us, 2 classes before us that had pieces to the puzzle that were missing. And like the Josh Allen, the Mike Edwards, those guys.
But you had to commit before you knew that was going to be the case.
Absolutely. And that's what I knew the guys over there, and I knew the talent, a couple of the guys that the talent was there. And that the coaches changes and then the facility and all those things are going to be definitely an eye draw to people. So being able to go in there and see that and have a faith that we can go in and help change that. We knew the 2016 group was a really good group coming in. Of course, I committed before it, but, that was, my decision alone. I was always a UK fan. We lived 10 minutes down the field, would walk to the games when I was young. So I knew that's where I wanted to go, and specifically for Coach Schlarman. I didn't want to get coached by any other coach in the nation. But, again, we had pieces before us that helped us to continue to catapult that program up, and we knew it was going to be great if we could come in there with that attitude, with that mentality, and have those guys feed off of our energy. Even though we were freshmen, we were going to come in and try to make that statement to make sure that we weren't the laughingstock of the SEC.
We both committed to Kentucky over Ohio State and Alabama.
Well, I want to talk about that. I got to take a break, but I want to talk about that. I want to talk about making that decision because more and more people are doing it, and that, I think, says a lot. We'll take a break. 502-571-1080. Drake Jackson, Landon Young going to be signing for folks here Friday night. We're going to talk more. If you have questions, send them me a text on the text machine, 775. All right, well, you know what? We'll take a break. Be right back.
To talk to Matt Jones and the crew, call the Clark's Pump and Shop phone line at 502-571-1080 or 1-877-904-1080, or send us the Kentucky branded KSR tweet of the day by tweeting Matt at KY Sports Radio.
Thanks for listening to Kentucky Sports Radio on Talk Radio 1080.
Welcome back, Kentucky Sports Radio. 502-571-1080. Text machine 772-774-5254. Sitting here with Landon Young and Drake Jackson. You were telling me a story. You don't have to tell who the coach is. But you were telling me a story about when you were being recruited, the disrespect the coach was giving to UK.
Yeah, so this was when I was getting recruited before I had many offers, but I had Kentucky already, and he said, son, before I recruit you, I want to know if you're going to consider playing at Kentucky.
This was a top program.
Yes, this is, yes. And I said, yes, sir, of course. I grew up there, blah, blah, blah. And he said, well, I can't recruit you then. I said, why not? And he said, because if you're considering playing at Kentucky, that means you have a loser mentality. And he said, I can't recruit losers into my program.
Wow.
Yeah. And
that's what he said to you.
Yeah, and it's negative recruiting, of course, but that was the stigma that Kentucky had. And 2-10, bottom feeder in the SEC, and we've changed that. And I think that's what I'm more proud of than anything. I think going 10-3, winning the Citrus Bowl, finishing 11 in the country, means more to me than winning a national championship at another school that I don't really have any tie to. So I always say that. That's what I'm more proud of.
That's awesome. And, you two both walk in here, Ryan, they both walk in here with UK shirts.
That's right. I noticed that.
I noticed that, too. And I'm not, I've done 50 of these interviews over the years with basketball and football players when they're done. And there's a handful that walk in with UK shirts on. And I actually think that says something. You guys, this means something more to you than just this is where you went to college.
We have pride for this program. And, like I said, we put in, more than 5 years of work because we were making those relationships even before. We were recruiting with the coaches and everything like that. But it's more than that. It's pride for the city. It's pride for what the BBN has done for us, what this community has done for us and given back to us and supported us through everything. And so it's so much more than just going out and putting on a jersey and playing a game. You have that Kentucky across your chest. You're representing your faith. You're representing your family. You're representing everyone around this community as a whole.
So let me ask you some quick hitters here. Give me the best, most talented player you played with during your time.
Josh Allen.
Is it is it not close? Is that one of those things where he was just a freak of nature?
Well, there are two guys. There's two guys you could rely on all the time. Really three. Mike Edwards, you knew, was always going to make that tackle to prevent it from becoming a 30, 40-yard gain, okay? But you knew third and long. You knew when we needed a sack to close out a game, you knew Josh was going to be there. And then when we needed a first down, you knew Benny was going to get it.
Absolutely. I can't agree with that anymore. And that's what all those guys were guys that went out and you never had to get on for not practicing hard or keeping guys accountable or being true leaders on the team. Especially Josh. Especially, I say that because I went against him, a majority of the time I was there.
What was that? That had to have made you better, having to go up against him every day.
Absolutely, and that's sort of the mindset I went into practice. I was like, okay, if I can go out and block this guy at a really good level, why can't I block anybody else in the nation?
Yeah.
I know he's going to be a high talent. I know he's going to do really good things, and as you see, he is doing really good things.
And you guys got to watch him develop. He was a 2-star when he got here. So you got to actually see that development.
I thought he was a wide receiver when I was a freshman because I came in early. He had only been there for a semester. I thought Josh Allen was a wide receiver.
Yeah.
It's funny when Josh, actually I was getting recruited there, and I'd already committed. I came in, and he came up to me. I didn't know really who he was when he first got there. And he said, you know what? He said, you're going to come in here next year, right? And I said, yes, sir. And I said, I am. And he said, well, I'll tell you what. He said, I'll take it easy on the first one-on-one pass rep, but then I'm going to kick your butt. I said, okay, that's fine. Let's go.
You guys obviously were the big blue wall, so you were blocking for a lot of running backs, specifically Benny, obviously. You ended up blocking a lot for Lynn Bowden in the year where he had to play. What was it like blocking for those guys? And they always seemed very appreciative of you all, which I think you had to have liked.
It was crazy blocking for Lynn. He was the slowest fast guy I've ever seen. He would wait,
He
would wait, exactly. He didn't – I'll be honest with you. Lynn had no idea what he was doing for the first I don't know, 3-4 weeks we were running that offense. He was just taking the ball, sitting there, letting it develop, and then finding where the hole was.
He's out there making plays.
But I actually think it's amazing how well that worked, considering
You're right. Sorry to cut you off. I don't know if he was ever tackled for a loss.
That's amazing.
He may not have been.
And the opponents knew it was coming, and they still couldn't stop it.
That was the most fun thing. I'll be honest. I saw a Louisville coach just yesterday. I saw a couple of them, and they avoided me so much.
What about Benny? Benny was so tough. mean, you guys made the holes, but he would usually break the first tackle. And, I mean, he was an amazingly tough guy.
You never had a fear that he wasn't going to get those short yards that you needed.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made our job a lot easier, is that we had the confidence that no matter what, if someone messed up, we missed a block, maybe it leaked off a little bit, we're still getting that first down. And that's why we were so appreciative of him, and he was appreciative of us. Of course, we were going to work our butt off, but what he didn't know is that him doing what he did gave us the confidence to do our job even better.
We can mention the names with them, can't they? Well, just to be careful, I won't. But there's 3 or 4 big-time offensive lineman recruits that have committed over the last year. One guy coming in this year, another 2 or 3 coming over the next few years. You all have to take pride. That's because of what you guys have built, don't you think?
Yeah, I remember seeing him. I know who you're talking about. I remember seeing him as a middle schooler coming in.
Oh, yeah. He was huge.
And I just remember saying, golly, this kid is huge. And I was so curious to see how he would develop, because you see some kids will be middle school getting offers and then kind of fade out over the next couple years. No, he's transformed his body. He is.
But this is now offensive line U. We're going to have to take a break. But do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that the state is becoming better with that, yeah.
I think we made it fun to be an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, we'll take a break. If you would like to ask these guys questions, we will take your calls when we come back. 502-571-1080. If you have a question for Landon or Drake, this is KSR.
When Chevy decided to advertise the Silverado and the all-new Silverado HD's available camera technology, it was suggested that there were better ways to do it than on the radio. But listen to the Silverado's available transparent trailer camera view. Maybe they're right. So check out the strongest, most advanced Silverados ever for yourself. Find new roads at your local Chevrolet dealer.
Read the vehicle's owner's manual for important feature limitations and information. Camera views require available accessory camera and installation. Not compatible with all trailers. See your dealer for details.
And it's knocking heads.
Now, more of Kentucky Sports Radio, presented by Stockton Mortgage. Here's Matt Jones.
Dude, talking to these guys in the breaks is even more interesting.
I love it.
They got some really good stories that they don't want to tell, but I'd love to. They talk about doing uncensored podcasts. This is the guy. These are the guys to have on.
Yeah, we'll wait 2 or 3 years down the road, have them come back, then they can tell those
That's
stories.
Right. Hey, 6 to 8 o'clock on Friday, they're going to be here signing. We'll talk more about it at the end, but 6 to 8 o'clock, come on out. Should be a fun Friday night. Both these guys are going to be here. I think we'll have, Ryan, a good group of people here wanting that. They've got pictures for everybody. Should be fun.
Now, people have asked me this. You can tell it. Do you need to get a number?
We're not doing the number for this one. Just come on out, and when you get here, they'll situate it for you. And feel free to come early. But you guys have said you'll stay if it's a little later. So,
yeah.
So we'll get here early and stay late. Yep.
All right, well, good. I know you guys are excited about it. I asked you who the best person you played with was. Who's the best person you played against? Because I have my answer, but I didn't play. So
The best person I was matched up against was Javon Kinlaw from South Carolina, first rounder to the 49ers last year. He was imagine Landon built like a monster. He was huge.
He was a monster.
And he was the most difficult. I thought Jeffrey Simmons from Mississippi State was the hardest person until I played Kinlaw next year.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had a couple Alabama guys, especially my freshman year when we played against them. Had Tim Williams and Josh Allen, and then we had this year had Aziz from Georgia, and was a guy that really challenged me through the game. Like, of course, he's going to be a top talent coming out of the draft this year, but a guy that could really bend, was really technical.
This is stupid because I was just thinking on the team. You're, of course, talking about the guys you got matched up against.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you all played against a player better than Lamar.
Lamar Jackson, I hate to say it, he was so fun to watch.
He was. I agree. I hate Louisville, and I love the kid in the NFL. I mean, I hated him there because I wanted him to lose.
Yeah.
But it was kind of nice when y'all beat him.
Oh,
It was, but the next year he was very mad, very determined.
It didn't work so well the next year, but we're not talking about that year. The year you beat him when he fumbled, that was pretty awesome. You want to take some calls, talk to people?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do it.
But before I do, real quick, Mark Stoops. What has made him so successful here, you think?
I think the way he uses his information. He takes information from the players, from coaches, from other resources, and he thinks about them. He doesn't make rushed decisions. That's one thing I noticed as I got older. He really sits there and thinks about what's the best thing to do in this situation. He listens to his people because it's not all about him. People forget this is still his first head coaching job.
Yeah.
So he's grown in it each year. and he's adapted to what he has. And I think that's something that takes it's special because you don't see that everywhere else.
I definitely think something else that has made him as successful as he is how he orients a player-led team. Mm-hmm. Coaches can only do so much, and when a bunch of coaches across the country will say, hey, I want a player-led team, and just throw you out to the dogs. Mm-hmm. But he actually sits down with us. We have a unity council that he explains to us what it means to be a player-led team, how we can do things the right way, how things may be the wrong way, how we can do things better. And he instructs those leaders of the team on how to do that and then sends us out.
Yeah. We had 10 team captains this year.
That's awesome.
That's what he wants.
And you guys, there's a lot of mature guys on this team. I mean, obviously these two, you just have to listen, but there's a lot of those guys that are part of it.
Well, I think, like they said, Stoops deserves a lot of credit for that, developing these young men into leaders. It's a big part of the program he's got.
That's right. Who's up first, Shannon?
Melissa.
Melissa, how are you, Melissa?
I'm great. Thanks, Matt. I just wanted to call and thank the guys for showing how smart and intelligent and great offensive linemen are. My son played center. I remember nobody knows the center's name unless he screws something up. And so I appreciate that they have worked hard and carried themselves so well and made it possible to have a Benny Snell, to have a Lynn Bowden. Without these guys, you don't have that. And so I appreciate them as a Kentucky alum and a mom, and I'm sure they hope they had a great time at Kentucky, and I appreciate them taking a chance and lifting the program up.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that's part of what's made this experience we've had at Kentucky so special is people see that. They see the offensive line, how we kind of catapult everybody else. We catapult the run game, the pass game, and the fans, the media has done such a great job of recognizing us. We've never asked for it. We don't expect it, but we sure have appreciated it.
But do you have to have, does your ego have to take a step back when you're an offensive lineman? I always say about Ryan, one of the great things about working with Ryan is, as I've gotten a lot of attention, it doesn't bother him. And it takes a certain kind of person to do that. Not everybody can do that, and he still excels even though they don't put him on the cover of a magazine, even though he should be.
Mm-hmm. I'm very handsome.
Exactly.
Well, he got new hair. You see that. Do you have to sort of do that, make your ego take a step back if you're an offensive lineman?
Yeah, I say when you sign up to be an offensive lineman, you sign up that you get none of the fame and all the blame. But that's part of what we do. We sign up to go out there and win football games. We're not there for the front page of magazines. We're not there for the media. We're there to help our running backs score touchdowns. And that's the honest truth to it.
So when Benny or Lynn Bowden gets all that attention, do you feel like you've gotten it too?
Yes, because the fans here have recognized it. Now, it can be dangerous where heading into last fall camp, outside of our meeting room, we had a sticker that said Big Blue Wall.
Yeah.
Right? It's not the O-line room. This is the Big Blue Wall room. We had a couple bad practices. Schlarman walked right out there and tore that off the wall.
Oh nice. Oh.
And he said, come back down to earth. And he ripped us, right? But what's made us great is that we haven't expected that. We're just blue collar, and he was afraid that getting that recognition might steer us away from that. So he did a great job of bringing us back down to earth and making sure that we still understand our first objective at hand was to sacrifice for everybody else.
For sure.
Who's up next, Shannon?
Jansen,
how are you, Jansen?
Doing well. First time, long time.
Who-ah?
I just wanted to say a couple things. I wanted to thank Landon and Drake for all that they did for the program and their time there. It was nice going and watching them in person, just seeing all that they do for our offense. We wouldn't have our offensive powerhouse, like we had the last few years without them, and I sure appreciate it.
Oh, no, we appreciate you. And like I said, it's people like you is the reason that we came here, and we love doing what we do. It's a support, and it's never stopped, and don't think it goes unnoticed.
What's your other thing, Jansen?
Well, I had a question. I was just curious. I'm a season ticket holder this year, just first time, and I was wondering if you had any idea if tailgating would be a thing this fall, unlike last year.
I don't know. Have you heard?
Not heard anything,
I've not heard.
actually.
I think they'll probably wait and see what the status of virus and everything is. I would bet they have it. This is just my guess. I think and I appreciate the call. I think they're going to 75% capacity soon. I would say, if I was guessing, I think they have tailgating this fall.
We hope that, by September we're going to be able to tailgate and go to the games.
Just a guess, but I would think that. Which team that you played every week played every year did you dislike the most?
That's easy. Louisville.
Did you?
Of course.
Why?
It was just, I think it was, the rivalry was so intense, and those players talked, we talked, it was fun, and...
it's interesting. In basketball, I've never gotten the sense that the players for either team feel the way about the rivalry that it does in football. Do you guys, it feels like both teams really don't like each other. Is that true?
Yeah, I think in football it might be different than basketball because, one,
you're there longer.
Yeah. And then I think, too, basketball's physical, but football's more physical. You're hitting each other every play. You're in each other's face every single play. I think, and you're doing that 70 times a game. So I think it kind of maybe fuels it more in football. But also, too, we had some good games. I mean, some competitive games that definitely led to that.
Last year, well, you didn't play, but 2 years ago, you beat them by a ton.
Yeah.
But
I think someone else that is sort of overlooked sometimes is how our rivalry with Tennessee has increased.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
and that's something over the last in my career has been a really intense game, even to this last season. Even though we came out and, like you said, we have those good games and bad games, and then all of a sudden now we have a breakout game where we really put the stomping on them. But we want to continue that. But it's something that, has been really sort of ramped up in that intensity.
I think Florida might end up getting a little more heated, too, because in 17, 18, and 19, those were really close competitive games all the way down to the wire. So I'm curious to see how that grows over the next couple of years.
Yeah, those were great games for 5 of the last 6 years have been really good games. Hey, if you are in recovery for substance use disorder and looking for a new career, the Kentucky Comeback Initiative, powered by the Kentucky Chamber, believes you deserve a second chance. Employers all across Kentucky have signed up and are willing to help you have a chance to turn your life around. If you've been in jail, if you've had a substance use disorder, or anything like that, you can support your family and become a productive member of society. Go to KentuckyComeback.com. Positions are available. No matter your skill level, your education level, they are there to help you get your life restarted. It is KentuckyComeback.com, a great system that they are doing there that we support quite a bit here. Real quick before we go to break, we are going to take reservations for the UK for the volleyball game tomorrow night. So what is the phone number?
554-6081.
859-554-6081. You can call now and make reservations for tomorrow night. It should be wild in here, I think, for this volleyball game. But we only have one line, so it may take you a little bit. Call throughout the day. 859-554-6081.
I'm 99%
You're wrong.
sure.
554-6081. He's right. 859.
All right, there you go. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
859-554-6081. You can call now or after the show. Get reservations to come watch the volleyball game here tomorrow night. We'll take a break. Be right back. It's Kentucky Sports Radio.
To talk to Matt Jones and the crew, call the Clark's Pump and Shop phone line at 502-571-1080 or 1-877-904-1080.
That'll get you when you get your picture on the cover of the Rolling Stone.
Now back to Kentucky Sports Radio on Talk Radio 1080.
That's a heck of a song, Shannon. What made you decide to play that right here?
Well, you were talking about...
the magazine. We're talking about magazine.
Yeah.
I love this song. Dr. Hook.
Yep.
He's got this, and he's got the other one I like.
You got phone, please.
What's the one about Tyler Childers sings, which I
like Ryan's version of it better.
What was it?
Go ahead, Ryan.
Please, sister, call me now. It's something about calling in. He's wanting somebody to call him.
What? I don't know this song that you're attempting to sing.
I can't think. It's only only other Dr. Hook song I know.
Well, Dr. Hook is he's got some crazy ones. So you guys probably don't know who Dr. Hook is.
I'm just sitting here smiling.
Speaking of smiling, this dude coached you, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
8th grade, 8-year-old. I mean, 8th grade, 8-year-old summer baseball all-star team. Landon was my first baseman and my cleanup hitter, and he's looking me right in the eyes, an 8-year-old. I'm not kidding you.
I was at your you were on this show when you were in high school when you committed.
Yes,
that's right. And then you were on this show when you were in high school. I wasn't on it that day, but you guys both. I mean, you talk about watching. We were talking about this with C.J. Conrad. I remember when he committed. Now he's leaving. He's a coach. It's crazy. One person asked a question I think is good. The only time I've seen you guys play, the Alabama game was a weird situation this year. A lot of guys were out, et cetera. The only time I've seen you guys play that it felt like, okay, that group that you're playing against is just better than us was a couple times against Georgia. So people are asking, how far away do you think we are from being ready to beat Georgia, if we're being honest?
What was the score this year? 14-3?
Yeah, something like that.
I think – well, we didn't have Schlarman, and I think really he was so involved in our run game, he called those plays. I think we would have had a really good chance to beat them this year.
Really?
I really do. And I think in years past, those to take the step from a good program to a great program is just a couple small things.
Yeah. What are those things? What do we need?
I think so. Coach Stoops always talks about making these big moments routine, right? Making the big play routine, because you saw Alabama. They had so many explosive big plays. It was routine for them.
And for a half, y'all were right there. Then it just exploded.
And that's where the difference between being from good to great is. Those little things in a game like football where there's so many plays, they add up. And we have the first team talent. We just need some more depth, and we need to make routine. We need to make big plays routine.
Yeah.
It's felt like since Benny and Lynn were gone, maybe we need something. We don't have that explosive moment. Like, it feels like you all have had to grind out pretty much everything you do, and that, like, sometimes, Lynn could just break one, or Benny could just break one or something. We haven't had that. Do you think that's something we need?
I definitely think we have the players to be able to do it. It's just the consistency that you have to continue to work on. Like you said, becoming from a good to a great team, you don't know what handful of plays or what one play changes the whole outcome of a game. It could be a play that's really early in the game that you should have scored on that you ended up having to kick a field goal that can change the whole momentum of everything.
Yeah.
So having, like you said, that consistency of making those routine big plays and staying consistent throughout the game, finishing out all four quarters is the difference between us coming 14-3 against Georgia or winning 16-14.
I know you guys both know him. How good is Jagger Burton going to be?
I think Jagger's special. I've worked with him since he was maybe a sophomore in high school. And I could tell early on that he was special, very smart, understands how to play the game of football. I know that sounds weird, but offensive line is such a strange position. Not many guys understand it naturally. He does as a freshman. I've seen them practice a couple times. He picks up movement in the run game, which, as you know, Landon, is a very, very, very difficult thing to do for a freshman offensive lineman. I have a lot of faith in him. He works hard. Big kid, 6'4", 290. He'll fill out that frame into a 300-plus pound player. But already bends really well, very quick, very smart, and very coachable is what I've seen.
Yeah, a big guy that has showed a lot of promise. And like I said, it's something that, he understands a lot of things that a lot of guys have to come in and learn for a period of time, which now I think what's going to elevate his game is just the reps.
Yeah.
He understands it. He can pick it up. Now just get those active reps to be able to improve on his game.
Who's next, Shannon?
Terry.
Terry, how are you, Terry?
Hey, guys. First one's kind of for Landon, and then the second one's for Drake. Oh, by the way, Ryan, Sylvia's Mother is the song you're talking about for Dr. Hill.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, 2 years ago, 4th and goal on the 2 against Tennessee to win it. What was the play call? And did Bowden just say, screw it, I'm running it? And then for Drake, with Liam Cohen coming in, and a lot of stuff going to be done under center. Please explain how different that's going to be. Do you think it's going to be a smooth transition? And if you want to go out on a limb, who's got the upper hand, Allen or Gatewood? Thanks.
Oh, wow. A lot of questions. Quickly, Tennessee thing.
Yeah, so to be honest, I don't even remember exactly what the play was. I know that
it was speed.
Was it speed?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we ran speed out there, and so he had
it's a speed option. It's basically running back. The quarterback takes the ball to the right. He's got the option to pitch it to the running back or take it up the field.
Which he was such a good guy in open space that he could make a big play out of nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
And so why wouldn't he want to just go ahead and take that himself and make a play?
You all were in shotgun most of your career, almost all. How different is it going to be next year?
Yeah, it's going to be very, very, very different. It's like trying to wipe your butt with the other hand. Okay. That's how I describe it. because
that was a football term.
I didn't know that was a term either. Got it.
So it's different for. I think the biggest switch up might be for the offensive line because now you're not running what's called inside or tight zone. You're running a wide or outside zone track. Very different rules, very different footwork, very different understanding of how to block people. You saw Louisville run it a lot in 2019 when we played them. You saw Missouri hit us with it a lot this year. It's something that we're going to major in, I believe. Something that it's just it's a pro style offense. So we're going a lot more under center. But I've talked to wide receivers on the team this year going through spring ball. They couldn't be more excited. They're saying, "Man, I had no idea these routes existed." Mm-hmm. And it's the little bit of taste I've gotten into an NFL offense down at the Senior Bowl. It is almost word for word the exact same stuff. So these guys are getting professional coaching that you've seen. That's what's made Alabama so successful. They have professional coaches, professional style offense. I think these guys are going to excel.
I'm not. What do you think happens with the quarterback? I mean, I know you haven't seen the kid from Penn State, but with Joey and Bo, what do you think? What do you think happens? I'm not asking you. I don't want you. They're your teammates. I don't want you. But what do you think?
I definitely think that both those guys are really going to be able to sort of open up their variety, open up their what they're able to do. I don't think that we truly were able to see what both of them have to offer while we were there. And so we got a little taste of it in practice. But now with all these different things that the offense is doing, truly turning into a pro-style offense, we're seeing what they're really capable of. And I think that they're really excelling. They're really being able to just be free out there.
I tell you, the quarterback that's going to win is going to be the one that makes the least mistakes and makes the right decision with the ball. That's all it's going to be. We don't need him to throw for 350. We don't need him to scramble and run for 20 yards every time. Whoever makes the least amount of mistakes keeps the offense moving. That's all that they need. So whoever does that is going to win the job.
All right, I want to do a couple things quickly, and then I want to let you guys kind of say a thank you to the Big Blue Nation. First of all, the signing is Friday night, 6 to 8 o'clock. Plan on coming out. I think, Ryan, plan on coming out and thanking these guys, right, for all their time here.
And I think there's so much excitement about the program. We're going to get a big crowd of people wanting to come out and do just that.
So come on out, have fun. If you would like to do the volleyball tomorrow night, call and make a reservation throughout the day today. We should, I don't know that we'll fill with the reservations, but we might. So you might want to make sure that you do that through the course of the day. It's also Wings Day tonight and trivia as well. Saturday, my man Shannon here is wrestling.
I know.
He is wrestling. Who are you wrestling, Shannon?
Well, Leigh, I blame this on you. Ari Alexander is her name.
He's wrestling a woman Saturday night.
Yeah, it's a female.
Oh, Ari's a woman.
Yeah.
Yes, he's wrestling a woman Saturday night at OVW. I'd love to have a lot of KSR folks out there. We'll talk more about it tomorrow, but you can buy tickets at OVWWrestling.com. That's Saturday night. I'm making you guys, by the way, come to wrestling one night because you're so big. You have to wrestle, but I need to see you all there. Will you do that for once sometime?
He was a state champion wrestler.
Well, I mean, this is professional.
Yeah, a little different.
That's just amateur. This is professional. But, Drake, can I get you out there sometime?
I'd love to.
All right, good. Talk about, before we let you go, kind of what the Big Blue Nation has meant to you.
Yeah, one of the reasons we're doing this signing on Friday is because we want to say thank you to, like we've mentioned throughout this past hour, all the support we've gotten as offensive linemen. We've definitely recognized it. We appreciate it. We didn't expect it. It's been over and beyond the respect we've gotten and all the attention.
And because it was such a weird year and we didn't get to really get out with the fans a bunch, we want this chance to be able to talk to those fans, meet them, get a picture with them, reach out.
All right. Well, thank you all on behalf of the Big Blue Nation. Thank you guys, not just for 4 years, but for being awesome young men. This is what you're proud of.
They're the ones you put on the pedestal.
That's
this
right.
is what you can be.
Thank you all very much. We will see you tomorrow. This has been Kentucky Sports Radio.